Yeah, and just a couple clarifications here to make. We will be streaming all of these Splat Zones matches that you see. We will be streaming all of the tower control, and we will be streaming the final match, which is all of Rainmaker, of course. But yeah, you're going to get to see a lot of different teams coming through here, and it'll be the same map and mode as it was last time, so we won't have to spend as much time talking about that. But I think we're ready to move on to our next match. This next one is going to be one that I've been very excited to see. This is going to be Lost Faction versus Stardust.
Okay.
And I know you've teamed with a few people here on Lost Faction. Although, let's see, are we ready for the preview?
Yeah, I think we'll do the preview first, and then I'll tell stories.
Lost Faction is a pickup squad for the U.S. Inkling Open Splatoon tournament, which is basically a mixer team of various competitive players from pre-existing competitive teams. We couldn't get our entire teams to play due to either age or regional differences, and so we've decided to band together and play this tournament, hopefully to gain some experience and have some fun. We would absolutely love to win the U.S. Inkling Open. The E3 trip is something that we would all be very excited to do. Actually, me, Pixel, Boo, and Toonchan have all met before at an existing Splatoon LAN, and it'd be really great to meet up again, see each other, and be able to compete against other teams at E3 using Splatoon 2 before the game even comes out. I'm a huge fan of Splatoon, of course, all of us are, and to be able to play on that E3 stage would be a huge honor. I'm sure it's something that none of us would want to pass up. There are a lot of very strong Splatoon teams that have been established for sometimes up to a year or more that will be entering the U.S. Inkling Open. So I think it would be unfair to assume that Lost Faction will win. However, I do think that we have a good chance. There will be good opponents, and I'm very interested to see what we can bring to the table. We're a pickup squad, so we haven't had a ton of time to be able to practice and really get our team synergy down. But we're all individually good players with decent results, and I think that we can come together and make something happen.
All right, cool.
Story time. Story time.
Yeah, so just because I think the match is almost ready, I'll kind of make it quick. The Team Lost Faction, as we talked about last week, a lot of these team members were going to a Splatoon 1 LAN back in the summer, Squidstorm. And what ended up happening was Resbit's plane got delayed, and Mario, who the other Dynamo was going to be, his car broke down the night before the tournament. So what ended up happening was the members that could go had to form like a pickup squad. It was like kind of really sloppy. They still made top 8, but they didn't do as well as they wanted to. This tournament is kind of, although it's not the exact same squad, it's really close. And this is kind of their opportunity to do what they wanted to do last summer, which is do well with the squad. So hopefully they're going to do well. They're very skilled players. Boo is a great slayer. Pixel's a great slayer. Resbit's a good sniper. Then we have some HM members. We have a really good Dynamo support player in Prime, and then Kyo is another good support / slayer with the L3 nozzle nose. But we're going to go ahead and actually start up the next team preview, just so that we can get into the match quicker.
Stardust originally started as a group of friends who wanted to play together, which invited, other players from every skill level to come and try out for them. So I ended up trying out for them, joining them. So I defined it as a group of friends, really, who kind of wanted to play competitively, but not so much team practice. So, yeah. For us, unfortunately, this will be our last tournament as a team together. So to win this tournament, it would mean Stardust final tournament, which will be great because we did it with friends who we all get along with. So it'd be a nice experience to win this.
All right, so a great spotlight there for Stardust. As it said in that, this is going to be Stardust's last tournament, so I know they're happy to have made it this far. A lot of good players here on Stardust. I know I've teamed personally with Opie, Locke, an absolute master, being a field general, great sniper. I don't know. What do you think the chances are here for Stardust?
It's close. They're a good team. They have a really unique style. They use, like we were talking about last week, they use some unique close-range weapons with their CQC players. Their sniper has a really unique support play style, and he'll switch weapons on certain maps that he thinks that he can do like a better kind of support play style and stuff like that. And I guess just for viewers that aren't that familiar with Splatoon, I should probably explain what support in Splatoon means, right?
Yes,
because
yes.
that word is a little bit confusing for people who don't play a lot of traditional shooters. In like a MOBA or something like that, being a support player is usually going to imply like you're kind of like a healer, where you do like some buffs and debuffs and stuff like that. When we say support player in Splatoon, we mean a more traditional sense of the word. If you are to think about maybe like Halo or like games where there aren't like different characters and stuff, a support player typically focuses on staying alive, keeping map control through like hitboxes and stuff like that, and opening up opportunities for their more slaying-based teammates to make plays. And in Splatoon, that also applies to things like painting and such. So in Splatoon, a lot of support players will play weapons that paint really well, or that do well from like a backline kind of position. And what they will do is they will kind of a lot of times initiate combat and then back off. You know what I mean? So they'll kind of draw someone out and then stay back, stay alive, and then the flanking teammate will kind of come in and do this like bait and switch kind of thing. And in general, just a support player means that it's a player who's going to do things to help his team win and stop the other team from winning in ways that don't necessarily mean kills. And if you kind of want like a short and simple explanation of that, it just means that they're going to be staying alive and painting out and playing objective.
Mm-hmm. Not always the most graceful job to do, but it is an important job, and really all of the top teams, that's a very important role. And some weapons do it better than others. If we say earlier we were talking about I believe it was Josh, who could sometimes play support T-Tech. Well, there are a number of different ways to play each weapon. Yeah. So if we do say support, that's what we're talking about. The map and mode list is going to be the same as last time, so we won't really need to talk about that. We will be watching Resbit for this match. We are looking from Resbit's perspective. Resbit, an elite sniper of several teams, most notably Chimera during their heyday, and currently... time check? Yes. So I'm at 56, 55, 54, 53, 52.
Bear with me a second. I'm at 46, 45.
All right, we're all synced.
43, awesome.
Very nice. But again, it'll be interesting now. Last time we saw this map, we saw it from the perspective of Tudos, who was playing the Zimmy, the Zinc Mini. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to get to see what this map looks like if you are a sniper. So this should be interesting. Yeah, a good sniper at that. And charging is a little bit. Charging is really, really interesting in Splatoon as compared to other games, because the charger really is confined to one role. And in a game it's the killer. And in a game that is about turf control, even in a mode like Splat Zones, you really are going to see him almost tunnel vision, but it's because it might be the best tunnel vision weapon in the game. And it looks like we are going to see two blasters here, the custom range blaster and the Luna blaster. And I'm going to be interested to see. This is not a conventional comp that we're going to be seeing here from Lost Faction.
I actually don't mind this. If the two blasters if all three of those members have quick respawn stealth jump, that's actually a good look. Hyper offensive, quick respawning, kind of jumping in team comps. You're usually bad if you do three of those in one sniper. It's usually not that good. However, this map's a little bit different because the sniper is so good and the quickly respawning from the inside of the map is so good that it just somehow kind of works out.
Yeah,
it depends on what two chances are.
Right, and the sniper in this map is a little bit more difficult to approach than it would be on other maps that don't have as much verticality. So yeah, you can see that. Now we're going to see Resbit head to the sniper spot up here. We call this the snipe for a reason. And that little jump that you see him doing, that's not to get on a highlight montage. It's because when you jump, you actually get a little bit higher vantage point that you can use to snipe other squids with their heads peeking out, or maybe they're jumping to do the same thing. But this is going to be a battle for the snipe. We already saw Toon-chan go up there and go down on the way to the snipe, because like we talked about, it is very difficult, and you have to move the snipers here. So you see already a little bit of a push here from Stardust.
Yeah, something to keep in mind, unlike a lot of other games, the snipers in Splatoon 2 do not have a secondary weapon to switch to. All they can do is snipe. And as you can see, these snipers are very slow. They take a while to charge, but they have such slaying power at range. So it's up to the sniper to be really good at his job, land his shots. And unlike other games, pretty much snipers in this game, they either are really good at sniping or they don't touch it at all. And Resbit is one of those really good players. But fortunately, the way Resbit's been positioning himself, and you kind of see what's going on in this map. It's been a little bit slow paced. However, members of Stardust are going down. It looks like Resbit's teammates are stealth jumping in, and should be able to take the middle of the map. Resbit responding by going over to this right side and getting a better vantage point on mid. As members are kind of dying in center, Resbit almost gets a clutch snipe on the opposing sniper, which would have been a big deal, would have been allowed them to push. However, Resbit's team is going to get marked. They're going to get echoed. So right now they're revealed by the enemy. They're not really going to make much of a push. While two Krakens go down to stop
one player.
Yeah,
a poor player.
It stops stealth jumps, and it's actually not that it's not that bad of an idea, especially if Resbit's able to get a kill like that on one of the Slayers.
Right, and it's really fun to watch this map. You can kind of going by where the sniper is put, right? If it's in a neutral state, the sniper's almost always up here on snipe. If they have a little bit of an advantage, you see him move down to the right, and if things are going bad, you see them back up. And you see a little bit of pressure coming in on that snipe. I believe that's Opie up there on the brush. You kind of shut that down before it can get started, but now we see Resbit in a little bit more of an offensive position.
Blaster's going to team fire over there?
Yep.
Oh, no, somehow it was...
Oh, what a great shot there. They're going to be able to keep the pressure up because of that.
Yeah, no, Kotetsu over there almost stopping that push. None of us knew that there was actually a Kenetech lying wait right there, but Resbit's going to go ahead and punish that. They're going to get some zone time. And now we're going to see those quick response stealth jump mechanics that we were talking about earlier. As these players move up over to the other side of the map, up to the enemy's side of the map, respawning players can get a height advantage instantly by jumping in. While Resbit is going to stay here in the center of the map and make sure that players that do jump down are going to be in threat of being one-shot killed by the sniper. His teammates are going to push forward. That being said, however, there were some deaths in the center of the map. Kraken goes down, Resbit being forced to move back. Another player near Resbit is probably going to die here. Yes, he is. Yes. And this could be scary.
Yep, that's going to be it. Now, one thing that we didn't get to see in the last set, unfortunately, is the penalty mechanic. So in Splatoon, when you take control back from the opponent, based on how long they've had it, they actually stack a different number of penalties, and penalties is just kind of like an additional buffer. You have to get rid of the penalty before you can start taking your counter again. So it's not enough to stop your opponent. You also have to stack that penalty on. So if we say stack that penalty, that's what we're referring to here. But now you're kind of seeing, like I said earlier, Resbit's backed up here. He's not able to get down there. He's got to stay back here. He can't be haphazard about it. He's just going to keep, peppering shots, try to get someone as they come down here. And I think that one may have gotten away. But they are in the lead right now, so it's worth noting that they're okay with this time that's going by. If you're in the lead, time passing can work for you, but this is a really bad position for them now, as I say that.
Yeah, and you know what? If Resbit doesn't get misses a few more shots here, he could be in a little bit of trouble. His teammate going down. He's the last one up. Might be the last one up, actually. He's going to go ahead and use his Kraken to support his teammate. No, he is the last one up. Teammates are going to jump in, though, and they're going to barely be able to hold back this push before the opponents get past that 83-point mark that will get him the lead. But Resbit actually forced to pull back, and this is actually a little bit close. That Lost Faction is going to be able to hold this off. But as I say that, more enemies are just keeping up the pressure right now. So this is actually kind of scary for Lost Faction, because the longer you barely hold off a push, the sooner something like this can happen, where the
this is so close. 86, 85, lead. 84, 83, and that's the lead.
Only 17 more seconds left in the match. Lost Faction just has to go now. They need to get these kills. They need to punish that, and this has to be done now. There's only 2 members left alive. Resbit, I don't even know what he's going to do to be able to help out this push. This is the problem we said with running a sniper on this map, is sometimes when you have to push, you can't. And Lost Faction going to lose at the last second there.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you mentioned the kind of triangle relationship that things have there, because that time it was Stardust that was using that more aggressive stealth jump, get in your face comp, and there, I mean, it would not surprise me if the KDs in this situation favored Lost Faction, but that doesn't matter because you're playing objective here, and Yeah, great stuff there by both Katetsu and Opie and Locke there. All three with solid KDs moving in. And yeah, that just goes to show, like you were saying earlier, if you move the sniper back and the sniper can't hit their shots, they're almost a detriment. And very good stuff there by Stardust taking game 1.
Yeah, no, that was kind of similar to what we saw last time, where mid control was kind of lost, and that's why the lead was lost or couldn't be taken last time. It was a little bit different this time. The first match that we saw, there was a complete lockout of the map from the team, that perspective we were watching, and they were kind of unable to take mid to just kind of get map control back to start doing something. Whereas in this case, once mid control was lost, and the fight with a very shallow lead, was just forced to keep happening in their zone. They eventually just lost control because little bits of paint here would get a second and some more paint here would get a second. So eventually they just lost control. You really need to just have that mid control to stop that from happening. That all being said, that was a very close match. The KDs actually were pretty close in general. There were some positive KDs and negative KDs on both sides. This map, again, is sort of sniper-based, so we're going to be able to get to see some decent sniping from Resbit. But what we want to look for here is kind of control of a circle around the outside of the map, especially going into the enemy side. Whereas in Moray Towers, you want to just kind of go straight to the enemy base and then kind of stealth jump up to the side. In this map, you kind of want to have like a mid control that kind of surrounds the map like a ring. So as we watch Resbit's perspective here, we can see where his teammates go and how they establish the build.
Yeah, one of the things that's interesting about Splatoon in comparison to other control point maps in other games is, a lot of times in those things, you get the timer to go down by standing in the map, or in the zone, excuse me. In this game, that's almost bad. You don't want to be in there more than you have to, because when you die, you explode into a lot of your enemy ink. In a lot of situations, like right there, it actually finishes painting the zone for your opponent. So I'm glad you mentioned that ring, because this is a map where you want to get your outside and then kind of crash into the middle. As we see a little bit of a lead here for Stardust, but as we saw in the last game, leads don't really mean much. You change very quickly here. So we do see a very strong defensive position there. I'm not sure who went down and was primed there. And you're going to see another take back. Small penalties, negligible. You're going to see another wall come down. And kind of a bloodbath here at the moment.
Yeah, and something that we're probably going to be able to see this set that we did not see last set was once the timer gets to 60 seconds, the map is going to transform. It's hard to get back control before the map transforms, so pretty much the team that gets control first kind of gets a guaranteed 60 seconds, and then like the second phase of the map starts. As we see the water level dropping, a new piece of cover going to come up. It's going to make it easier for the losing team to get back center control, and now we're going to see if Lost Faction can take advantage of this map change and get some control.
Right, you see a lot of Stardust stuck there on the right side. Their left, our right. We're gonna see now if they can. They've got some ink down. You see okay, the penalty stacked up. They're in control now. This is what they needed here. The echolocator going out there. You can kind of see where they're all at. They're kind of stuck there in a corner. Resbit gonna take a more aggressive position now that he knows he has that Kraken.
He's gonna use it.
Yep. Here it comes.
Force the bubble. Just get out of there, Resbit. Just get out of there. Some way. The Diamond's going to help you swim afterwards. You're fine. Shooter's going to come up. Okay, this is good. So Resbit's going to watch over here to the right to make sure that flank gets
Great
killed.
shot.
Good shot on Lock, and that was the sniper too. And then
another one.
So the long range presence, the pinning presence, all suddenly down. Lost Faction takes the map. 5 seconds are going to go back very quick. Gain the lead right now. Yep, and now they have 3 minutes to make sure that they can not completely lose map control. Enemies to the left are going to get a kill, so he is going to have to watch out. If enemies start to move too forward to the map to the left, he's going to have to back up. But for now, the timer's going down quickly, and I think the enemy areas are going to be forced to just pile in to try to desperately take this in.
Yeah, we're going to see the bubble here coming back out. We're going to see an ink strike as well. I think this is probably going to be no, they're still in control. Incredible. The ink strike can be painted through. Fun little mechanical fact there. And it gets the shot onto Locke there. Excellent job there with that take back. They just got a little bit of control. They used the echolocator to identify what side they were on. They spotted out 3 to the right. And then they just kind of compressed them in. And yeah, very, very solid response there. That was, once they got control, they just never let up.
Yeah, no, that was a well executed defense. So what exactly happened there was Lost Faction, they took advantage of the map changing, and they kind of started to take some control, and then their opponent Stardust started to push back. And instead of letting themselves be caught out of position, they backed up, kind of baited a push from Stardust, and then punished it greatly. We saw Resbit just knew that the 2 players from Stardust were going to try to go for that right side flank. Got them both. As he got those kills, his teammates immediately responded with left side control, went around the outside of the map in a ring like we talked about, and completely locked Stardust into their spawn. By the time Stardust was able to get any kind of any kind of pressure ready, the game was already over because that push and that take back was so well executed from Lost Faction.
Yeah, very good stuff. And now this time we're actually going to get to see a Game 4 coming out, so we'll be able to talk about a couple more maps. But right now we're back on Piranha Pit, and be interested in seeing here now. Piranha Pit is a map that I've seen attacked a lot of different ways right now. Let's see. I'm interested in seeing if Toon will stick this. Okay, Toon is going to stick this. I know Toon loves this map, but just talk about the power of the custom range blaster on this map, because I mean the custom range blaster is good everywhere, but to be able to use it to influence those raised areas is especially a threat if you can lock them out.
I think honestly, I think that the custom range. Some people would disagree with me on this, but I think the custom range blaster is probably, if you make a tier list, the custom range blaster probably sits at the top. I think it's the most significant weapon in the game. It is a very dominant main slayer. It has the potential to one-shot kill enemies at a very large range. It has a great sub-weapon in the bomb for map control and meter gain. It has light depletion, so when it dies, it doesn't lose that much special meter. And it has Kraken, which gives you invincibility. It's one of the best weapons in the game. The only weakness that the custom range blaster has is it doesn't have painting power. So as long as it's on a team that's comp is designed to compete for the custom range blaster and let it just get in position, use splash damage, use its one-shot kill potential to just completely punish and obliterate everything that moves, and then it always has Kraken and stop pushes. It's just a monster to deal with. And when you honestly, when you design your teams, if you're not picking custom range blaster, thinking about what you're going to do against opposing custom range blasters is actually a pretty big deal, and it's very important.
Yeah, right now we're already seeing Lost Faction just get a little bit backed up. Still haven't lost their zone yet, but this has almost kind of progressed like a turf war match, and neither side really willing to go in too deep, because they know as soon as they go deep, they just open the door for the other team to come in with flanks. So we're seeing a lot of walls come down, both snipers just kind of sitting back and doing a little bit of pepper painting when they can. See an Echo go down here, and I mean, this map, there's two invincibility specials fighting right in front of us here. But I don't know, this map is just one of those maps, I know I said it earlier, but this is a map that it can really snowball quick because it's so easy to lock people in. See Resbit come and get a little bit of a backstab, gonna get that one too. And okay, this is what I need, this is what I was talking about.
Rez is gonna get in position, he's gonna try to get a spawn kill here. If he misses, he's gonna look to the left, yep. And almost gets that shot. That player knew that Resbit probably was going to shoot at him. That's kind of a typical spot to get spawn camped at. But like you said, like it was kind of a low-scoring game for a little bit there. Now it's going to snowball. Both teams running some kind of slow-paced stuff. We see some walls from Stardust. We see a Dynamo and an E-Leader from Lost Faction. They're both very slow weapons. They don't really have the ability to move that much. Dynamo can paint up for teammates, but you know. It kind of creates a matchup where both teams are going to be slow. Nice shot right there. Great. And that's the big deal, because that's a sniper that just died, which means his teammates can move up safely. Maybe he'll move up safely,
but I think, was that the Dynamo coming in over the side? Well, whatever it was, it's gone now. I think there were two actually that went down there. We're going to see Locke try to come back in and get a snipe here. As an Inkzuka coming out from this side, but yeah, right now 50%, having to take two zones to lose it. Provided that Resbit is able to, you know, just keep getting a snipe here and there, and his teammates are willing to defend him. This is a very, very difficult. Yep.
Yeah, and there it was really nice. Zemi didn't know he was there. There is a small delay when you activate an invincibility super, so if you activate it in reaction to someone up in your face, you're not going to be able to get up in time. There's actually animation that the invincibility supers need to go through before they actually have effects. So if you see a Zemi with bubble and you just run up and crack him on him like that, he's probably going to die, unless he was already shooting in your direction to try to push you back. When you're invincible and you get shot, you get pushed back in this game. So while you can't damage an invincible player, you can push him back and make him useless. That would have been the Zemi's only potential play there, but he wasn't aware, so he just got snuck upon and died.
And a lot of this map, or a lot of this game right now, you're seeing is being played on Stardust's side of the map. Back there on the back side, they're just kind of getting pushed back, and the more... Oh, I didn't even see that! But the more of the game that you can play in the spot of the game that the game is currently being played right now, the better your chances are, because provided that you have good callouts, which most of the teams at this point, you know, do have, you can identify when someone's trying to come for your zone, you can move back. And again, Locke just having a terrible time right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Locke kind of cut out position. Yeah, that wasn't really a sniper one-on-one. Is that he just kind of maybe felt like he was forced to jump in there and try to do something desperate, but that's going to be it. Yeah, Stardust just kind of got locked out there, and they slowly weren't able to take map control. You know what? I'm looking at the right side of the map in this results screen, and I don't see any blue paint over there to the right, and that's a little bit telling to me because that right side of the map, or just like if it's your left side of the map, if you're the team that's doing this, that is a large area of the map that doesn't have any real significance in combat, but it's a ton of area to paint. So what you do is when you lose control on this map, you take control from the left side, and whichever of your teammates has the best invincibility special, they gobble up all that paint. When you paint, you gain meter. Now you have a special to help push with. The fact that that area of the map was not painted at all signifies to me that that type of organized takeback wasn't even attempted. Maybe they were just scrambling so much. Maybe they felt like they were getting killed too much on their left side to be able to actually move out there. I'd have to see that from the enemy team's perspective, but it's a little telltale to me that they just felt like they were being so dominated that they couldn't attempt something like that, or it's just they just weren't able to put it together.
Right. And I mean, when most of the game is being played back in that area, you're seeing a lot of combat in that area, and I mean, it just didn't really look like Lost Faction was giving him much there. They didn't really give him the opportunity. You saw Boo there going 11-6, means constantly playing back there. And right now we're finally going to see Salt Spray Rig Splat Zones. For those of you who don't know, Salt Spray Rig is maybe the most discussed map in the Splatoon community, and this is the first time we'll be seeing it today.
Yeah, so Salt Spray Rig is probably the community's favorite map, just because it has a lot of slippery slope. If you take center, you can kind of sit there, and it's hard for your opponents to move up. This is just kind of the way the map is. So this opening push is 50% of the game. So whichever team comes out on top of this opening push is naturally going to get top control. Nice shot.
He makes it look so
Another
easy.
Nice shot. All right,
He makes it look so easy.
All right, that's half the game right there. The enemy team has to, I'm serious, the enemy team has to kind of come barreling up the street. If there isn't someone far over to the left to provide as a spawn point, they pretty much lost all control, which looks like they just died. So there were some enemies over there to the left that were going to try to form a potential pincer, but they were just punished right away. And now Lost Faction can kind of sit here, wait for the enemies to make a move, and punish them. Bubble gets forced early, not even in zone. That Bubble's going to run out by the time the Stardust member can actually get in the zone, and Resbit's just here just trying to get rid of to get some picks. Kraken going down, the zone's still in control. An enemy over here to the left is probably going to get punished pretty quickly if he tries to jump in. A Kraken maybe might make something happen, but no, too many enemies alive that even if that Kraken did get a kill, I don't think it's going to mean much.
Yeah, and you're seeing right now just how difficult retakes are on this map, and I mean, even last map too, just how difficult it is to take a zone as we see another Kraken. Resbit going to use that little stealth mechanic and hide. Echolocator coming a little bit too late right now, but I think we're finally going to see a retake. Yep, there it is.
All right,
and what they did there was they came in from a couple sides, stacked a couple of invincibility specials, and I think Locke got a couple picks there as well, so it really does take a coordinated team push. Right now, Resbit not in a great situation. We're going to see Prime try to get the stealth jump here. Great shot. Can Prime get here in time to help? I think Prime came in at exactly the right time.
Yeah, and he gets that kill. Okay, so there is a penalty involved. Lost Faction isn't in the best position. There's still some Stardust members live in the middle of the map. If this situation ends up, I know that, actually I was going to say if this situation ends up with Stardust controlling the map, they could swing it in their favor, but it doesn't look like that. It looks like a lot of Stardust members are going to die and be out of position. There are more alive right now, but they're not really in position to take the map. This Octobrush is kind of the last stand.
Yeah, I think they were able to get back there one. Yeah, Locke back there, gonna pepper them back here, but there's something. Oh, how did he dodge it? That was an incredible dodge. He's looking, not gonna find him. He's gonna get his teammate there. No, he's able to get the kill. Oh, that was a huge swing. That was really their chance to get back into it.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that Kraken was actually going to ruin everything for Lost Faction right there. Because then some quick response stealth jump was going to come in and it was going to get all kinds of messy. And then like a cherry would have showed up with Bubble. But no, that Octobrush that we talked about, he is able to kind of move back there to this other side of the map. He probably is going to lose some beacons. So if that Octobrush does force some combat and his team, Lost Faction, can't take care of the beacons, what might happen is that Octobrush might end up providing a path for his teammates to get in and kind of pinch the Lost Faction here, which something needs to happen because there's only 30 Splatoon seconds left in the match.
Yeah, and I don't think any of that happened. We're not seeing any pressure coming in here from the back side.
Oh, nice one shot.
One shot from yeah. So for those of you who don't know, any of the nozzle nose family, they kind of function as a burst weapon. 3 very quick shots. Basically, hit all 3, it's a kill. Hit 2 or one of the 3, not a kill.
Yeah, it's a 3-round burst magnum. So the H3 nozzle nose, as you just saw, There was
That
no
was a
penalty.
Kraken.
There was no penalty. How that's so unfortunate for Stardust because they had so much of the zone painted. I don't know if it was just like a situation where the paint control was a little odd and they weren't able to get it, but that should have been Lost Factions. I'm sorry, Stardust's penalty right there, but they weren't able to get it, and that's going to be the game.
Yeah, and that was huge too, because you saw the Inkling flash a little bit in their hair, kind of go Super Saiyan there. That's indicative of you having your special. The Octobrush has a Kraken as a special too. If they were able to get that paint, kind of hide that Kraken, use it to get a couple kills on the Kraken, set up lock again. I mean, that match just showed you how one or two little situations, that earlier Kraken and that unfortunate death there at the end with no penalty, like how it snowballs. That map is so hard to get takebacks on, and you saw how just two little unfortunate misplays can change it.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying before, at the beginning of the match, whichever team ends up with control after like the first engagement, that's like 50% of the match. The other 50% of the match is just making sure that if you do suddenly start dying, that the enemy doesn't get complete control and do it to you. You know what I mean? And the Stardust was able to get top mid control. They were able to get some kills, and like saw that there was that point where if they had gotten that penalty and then stayed alive, that could have been the game. Like that's how much slippery slope the Salt Spray rig has. But unfortunately, they just weren't able to make that happen, and Lost Faction's going to take the set.
Yeah, closer set than our last one was, but yeah, unfortunate stuff. That's Stardust's last tournament as a team. Yeah, just some unfortunate misplays there.